Welcome to the Enjoy Life podcast. This podcast is about enjoying our lives by making the best of our current situation and being able to choose our mindset, our goals, and our actions so that we can guide our lives to go in the directions that we want it to go. Well, in this podcast, I'm going to share with you information that I've learned just through personal experience, which, my mistakes and failures, as well as some of the successes too, obviously. And some of the things I learned from a little bit of formal education and with working with people to make positive changes in their lives. These are things that I'm trying to do in my life because it wouldn't be right for me to share things that for you to do that I'm not willing to do myself. Now, by no means am I perfect or have everything just right. I'm human too. So some of the things I'm going to share with you are things that I'm trying to do or I'm still working on improving, but it's still valuable information because if it can benefit me, then it might be able to benefit you too. I'm glad you're here and listening in. Just make sure that while you're listening in, you're storing things away that you can take action on to be able to move forward and take your life in the direction that you want it to go. Once again, I'm glad you're here, and let's get started. Hello there, Nick Mazey here, and this is the Enjoy Life podcast. Just a friendly reminder, you can always go to nickmazey.com. There you'll find show notes for the podcast episodes, pretty much the blog. You can always listen to episodes there. There's some recommended reading and some more resources I'm trying to get out just to help you to pursue your goals, to enjoy your life and make it more what you want it to be. So using my website as a resource. And also, I have the Make Action Easier page and technique up there just to be able to find out some of the things that might be holding you back from taking the steps that you want towards your goals. You can go to nickmazey.com/MAE. For Make Action Easier, and hopefully that can help. On to today's episode. Today, I have a question for you. Do you believe you're awesome? That might sound a little weird, but let me tell you why I'm asking. See, when I feel good, I feel good about myself. Life is good. And I enjoy it more. It's even easier. It's even easier for me to take steps toward my goals and make the progress that I want when I really believe that I'm awesome. Now I'm human, so and I get down on myself sometimes too. And when I start to feel a little down on myself, and I'm having those negative thoughts, and I'm not having that strong belief in myself, see, it's not so good. And it ends up being more difficult to do the things that I want to do to achieve my goals. I end up enjoying life less, and it's just not that positive place. Those are two of the major things that this podcast is about pursuing and achieving our goals and enjoying life. And getting down on myself, it kind of ruins those two things. Now, can you relate to either side of that? Maybe when you're feeling good and you're feeling great about yourself, that life's better and it's easier to take steps for going forward, or the not so good, the negative side of when feeling down on yourself, that life's a little bit more miserable, a little less enjoyable, and it ends up being more difficult to pursue your goals. Well, if you can relate to either side of that, then this episode's for you. Because life has ups and downs, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? No, not at all. Well, life does have ups and downs. They happen. That's life. But at the same time, there are definitely things that we can choose to do that can impact the ups and the downs. There are three choices that I want to talk about, that impact, how you see yourself. Because how we see ourselves is really the ups and the downs that we have. How we see things, and how we choose to view ourselves and our lives really can be the determining factor if we're enjoying our lives and we're going the direction we want it to go. So I said there's three choices that we all make that impact how we see ourselves that we're going to talk about. And the first one is what we put into our minds. Now, if you ever listen to Zig Ziglar, this is a big topic that he talked about. He mentioned it in a lot of his books and in his talks, was choosing to put good things into our minds. He was always promoting putting positive things into your mind. Because, you can't put crap in and expect to get good out, right? Of course not. But so what we put into our mind has a huge impact on how we see ourselves and how we see our lives. Now, when you talk about putting things into our mind, most people automatically start thinking about books and TV. I get that. That's true. What we read or what we watch on TV, has a big impact on us. At the same time, those are not the only two things that impact how we see ourselves in our lives. There's another huge one out there these days, and that's social media. Scrolling through Instagram and seeing the beautiful people in their perfect lives, who just travel, drive fast, expensive cars, have nice watches, those perfect kids that never misbehave in the house that's always cleaned up. How helpful is that? Because when you start seeing all these perfect other things of other people, these nice filtered and edited pictures and videos, that can lead to thinking, well, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? What am I doing that's wrong? What's wrong with my life? Have some of that fear of missing out, maybe. Well, if you've ever had that kind of thought while scrolling through things that are perfect from other people, you're not alone. Now, I'm not saying that you have to cut out Instagram and social media and that all of it's bad and to eliminate it all. No, I'm just saying, what I want you to think is I want you to pay attention to what it does and how you feel and how you think when it's happening. That's a large part of this, is that we want to identify, the impact things have on us so that we can make positive choices that are going to lead to the lives that we want and to we experience the things we want to experience and just enjoy life, to achieve our goals, to do those good things. In order to do those good things, we've got to pay attention to what's helping us and what's hurting us. Now, too much social media, that can lead to comparing ourselves to other people. And comparing ourselves to other people, it takes the focus away from what we can do, our actions and things we have control on, and places the focus on things that we don't have control over. See, we don't have control over other people. But if all we're doing is looking at their lives, maybe what we're lacking, then we end up focusing on that, and that doesn't help us to achieve our goals. It doesn't help us to enjoy our lives. It can lead to us telling ourselves, that we're not good enough, that we're missing out, that something's wrong with us, and a whole host of negative self-talk messages that end up just causing damage and making it more difficult for us to take the steps to do what we need to do. So that first section, that first thing, that the choices that we're making, that impact how we see ourselves in our lives, is what we're putting into our mind. And it's not just social media. We can focus on the news and the negative stuff and, TV and books and any sort of material that's negative. I'm not talking about putting your head in the sand, but I'm talking about the more we put into our mind, the more we focus on that. If we choose to put things that are positive about what we can do and encouraging ourselves, then we can make a difference and actually change things in our lives for the better. So what we put into our mind is a huge thing, because it leads to what we end up telling ourselves, which is the second choice that we make. So the second choice we make is what we tell ourselves, the self-talk message that we give ourselves. Self-talk is an amazing, powerful thing, because we believe what we tell ourselves. If we tell ourselves the same message over and over again, we'll end up believing it. It's just true. If you tell yourself that you're not good enough, that life isn't positive, that it's all negative, you'll end up believing it. If you tell yourself that you can't achieve a goal, you'll end up believing it. And that's just not a good thing if you want to achieve it at all. See, now, and just like the first one, of what we choose to put into our minds, this second one, this self-talk, the message you tell yourself, see, you have a choice with it too. You can choose to change the message you're telling yourself. You can tell yourself, things that will help you to achieve what you want, to do the things you want, to enjoy your life. I know this sounds a little hokey, a lot of hokey stuff. See, the thing is that it works sometimes. So you can choose to do something that might sound a little hokey, and get the benefits from it. So you can practice intentional, positive self-talk. Self-talk is that message that you tell yourself. When that negative thought comes by, that thought that makes you feel a little bit worse or a little bit down or a little bit like you're missing out, you can catch that thought and you can tell yourself something that's positive. Because when that negative thought comes through your mind, just because it comes through your mind does not make it true. When you choose to believe it, that belief is what makes it a little bit real, but it doesn't mean that it's like an objective fact. So when something comes through your mind that's negative, catch it and change it to something that's positive. Something that's going to help you. not just some woo-woo feel-good positive, but something that's actually going to help you have the belief so that you can make your life more what you want it to be. Now, some simple ways to change this internal message would be a mantra, just a simple way to impact your beliefs by a consistent message that you want to believe that will help you to achieve your goals. One that I use a lot is, I have more than enough energy, drive, and focus to do what I set out to do. It's simple. And I have, longer ones that I've kind of molded over the last few years, and in fact, just kind of making some changes to them recently so they become more what I really want to hear and believe. But that's a simple one that really helps me. Visualization. You can actually choose to visualize the things that you want to believe and how you want to feel and focus. And that can be a huge way to change our thoughts and beliefs, is by practicing it in our mind's eye. Now, these things don't magically just change the outside world. Well, at least I don't believe they do. But what it does is it changes how you see it and how you experience it, which can be just as beneficial. Also there's mindfulness, being present in the moment, it can really lead to, being more positive, lead to happiness, can see life better. Just a few simple ways to change that message that's going on inside your head so that, you can believe that life is good, and that helps to make it so. Like I said earlier, it ends up helping make taking action towards your goals easier too. There's that taking action piece. That's leading you right into the third choice that we make. Before I dive into that third choice, I do have a request for you. And some of you have already done it, and I really, really appreciate it. It makes such a big difference. But if you enjoy this podcast at all, if it helps you in any way, or you just keep listening to it because it's nice, it's positive, whatever, would you please go rate and review this podcast? That way other people can find it. And on whatever platform you're using, just rate and review it. It lets other people know what you think about it, even if you just give it some stars. And if you get any benefit and enjoyment and value out of it, share it with somebody. That way you can help pass this message on to other people. It might make a difference in their lives, or give them some sort of little snidbit of something that they can do to make a positive change. Subscribe, rate and review, share. Any one of those would be a huge help. And I appreciate it. On to the third choice that we make that determine, or at least impacts, how we see our lives and ourselves. And it's how we act. How you choose to act has a big impact on how you see yourself. But it's your choice. I talked a lot more about this in episode 84, act how you want to be. And you can go to website, nickmazy.com, search for 84, or on whatever device you're listening to this on. It should have the recent episodes, and it's just episode 84, act how you want to be. I dive a lot more into it, so you can check that out. But pretty much the long story short is how we choose to act, how we choose to conduct ourselves and behave, and even down to our posture, and if we're standing up straight. How we choose to act impacts our beliefs and how we see ourselves and our lives. And I just want to encourage you to act how you want your life to be. If you want to be down on yourself, then slump your shoulders, hunch over, and act like you're down on yourself. If you want to be happier and more confident, and feel good, then stand up straight, act with the confidence. And because our brains believe our bodies, and when we act in a certain way, it helps us to feel that way and be that way. A lot of that act how you want to be episode, it's a lot of it's material that I've learned from Dr. Amy Cuddy. She's got an excellent book, Presence. She talks about the power poses, and it's just a lot of valuable information. You can find that book on my recommended reading list at nickmazy.com/books, or just find it at your library, anything. All right, so those are the three major things that we're doing. We're choosing, what we put into our minds. We're choosing what we tell ourselves, and we're choosing how we act. And you have a choice. You can choose to cut out the negative and add more of the positive. In fact, I recommend doing both. When things lead to you feeling bad about yourself, and things lead to you that negativeness, just try to cut it out as much as you can and add the things that help you to feel positive and have that good mindset and to take the actions towards the life that you want. This is one thing I actually ended up hearing about, again, kind of from people at the top of their craft, but I heard about it after I'd already started creating the material for this episode. It was just the other day I was listening to an interview between Brendon Burchard and Lewis Howes. And they were just talking about, the things that they do to help keep that positive view of themselves. And I guess they've gotten to the point where, it doesn't impact them at all because they always stay on the positive side of things and just keep that negative out of their brain. I'm not there yet. I still have to make a conscious effort to do a lot of these things so that I can experience the benefits of having that positive view of myself and my life so that I can enjoy it and take steps toward my goals. And if you're at the place where you still have to make that conscious effort, being intentional about, what you put into your brain and what you tell yourself and how you act and what you do, if you still have to be intentional about that and put forth some effort, then just let me tell you that you're not alone and it's worth the effort. This is something that I'm really striving for in my life, and I see some of the benefits of it. It is very helpful. We just got to keep working at it so that we can improve in this area to really reap the benefits. We're going to continue this conversation a little bit going into next week's episode where we're talking about wanting things to be different. So definitely join in that one. Great way to not miss an episode is to subscribe to this podcast. You should be able to do that on any platform that you're listening to it on. Once again, it'd be a huge help if you'd rate and review, share it with somebody that can help them too. Thank you for listening to this podcast and this episode. I appreciate all you. Keep taking steps toward the life that you want. And I can't wait to talk to you again next week. All right, take care.